All right, welcome back here to The Hill. An ex-aide for Donald Trump says that there is only one person who could defeat the former president, Taylor Swift. Speaking on the podcast Behind the Table, Elizabeth Griffin, formerly the head of the communications director, she discussed Swift's massive popularity. Watch.
This ends in one way. We are all Taylor Swift fans, and to be honest, you know, if Donald Trump looks like he's going to win, she's just going to need to get in the race and defeat him once and for all, because she's probably the only person who can.
There you go.
I don't know. You're buying it, Kara?
Why are you looking at me? Because I'm the only girl here.
No,
I am a Swiftie. I hate to admit it.
Are you?
Yeah, I like her music. I think she is slightly annoying when she doesn't sing.
Politically or personally?
And here's the thing. I mean, you have so many articles about how her recent global tour is a driver of the economy. Like, she's actually impacting the GDP. So I think that she is a singular force right now. But I really want to get back to people who are competent at governing, running for office, not just people with name recognition. You've probably seen The Rock is thinking about a potential run. You've seen reports about Meghan Markle sort of being up for some of these positions politically. But I think we need to have good governors, not just famous people and name recognition.
Here's what I would say. You brought up, obviously, she's an economic force. Could she be a political force? I remember exactly where I was on June 16th, 2015. Does that date ring a bell?
The escalator.
Trump announced.
Somebody walked down an escalator right in front of me, and I was going live next to, like, Access Hollywood and Inside Edition, right? It wasn't all of the networks. Yeah. And at the time, it was an entertainment story. And fast forward, here we are. So, I don't know.
Well, at a minimum, I do think that between Taylor Swift and Beyonce, the women that are helping drive this economic recovery, maybe it's part of the Bidenomics. It's a secret Bidenomics plan to keep the economy going strong.
You know, it also demonstrates the weakness of Joe Biden, that they're actually looking outside the political class trying to find a celebrity.
But to be clear, that was a Republican. That was a Republican.
That was a Republican.
Is she? I don't know. I mean, I used to work, you know, she was in the comp shop, so I know her. But
the short issue on the constitutional short flaw is that you got to get elected, and it's turned into a popularity contest, not whether you can govern. Intellectual voters like us will say, well, can he or she govern? But from a popularity standpoint, most voters aren't as informed as we are. Okay. So what they'll do is you got to get elected to be a great governor.
So set running aside, she influenced a voter registration drive, had 35,000 people sign up in one day. I think it was like a 2x phenomenon of what they're used to. So if she gets behind a person or a cause, I don't think it's out of the question that she might have some influence. The other side of that is she went after Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, and that didn't work her way.
Right. No, I mean, I think, I mean, part of Taylor Swift's appeal is that she's genuine in her belief, and that people think that she is, you know, doing the right things and in line with her beliefs and wants to do right by the American people. And I think that sentiment needs to translate down to other candidates, because the young people are fired up. The young people want to get engaged. They want to see change. But we have two octogenarians, or close to being that, as the two frontrunners for both party nominations. So I think young people are excited and motivated, and Taylor Swift, I think, is capturing that energy at the moment.
All right, let's bring in Elizabeth Vargas. Elizabeth Vargas reports starts about 8-9 minutes from now. What do you make of all of this? I mean, she's been front and center in the news for a lot of reasons, but you know, it's not crazy to talk about a celebrity and their impact on politics.
No, not their impact on politics, but come on, nobody's seriously talking about her running for president. That was just Elizabeth Vargas having fun on a podcast, you guys. But listen, she has driven voter registration to 350,000 people now total registered. She's a phenomenon, unlike any we've seen in a very, very long time. We just saw, I mean, the ratings for teenage girls for Sunday Night Football went up 53%. because she was in the stands to cheer on her boyfriend. She has huge clout right now, and I hope she uses it for good. Anything to drive engagement from our younger adults in this country to start paying attention to politics and getting involved in politics and going and voting on election day would be a fantastic thing. But I don't think anybody's serious. I don't think she's. I mean, she's great. I'm also, I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie. I think she's got some great talent, though.
Oh, come on, Elizabeth. You're not a Swiftie.
I will confess, had I the opportunity to go see her in concert recently, I would have taken it, for sure.
Okay, there you go.
I think she's incredibly talented. Incredibly talented.
She is indeed, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.